if you're watching this video right now, hopefully it means you've already watched part 1. Part 1 was explaining to you how to use the self-assessment section and then also the personal finance and business finance. So you should be finished with that. If you haven't watched that already, please go back and watch that because that's just as important as this one. It's a long video, but it was a lot of information to cover. So if you want to take the shortcut, go into the description box and you'll see timestamps. So for each section that you want to see, you can skip past all the other things and go straight to the one that you want, okay? So stop watching this video, go check that one out. When you're finished, come back to this one, okay? Pause. Welcome back. We're gonna get straight into it. So we're in the organizing and planning section, as you can see on the tab, organizing and planning. And all of the tabs, all of the dividers are the same color. Maybe moving forward we may change it up, but for right now everything is the same color. The color of the year is Neo Mint Green, and that was the inspiration for the planner. Also, we partnered that up with a charcoal gray, which may come off as black, but it's a gray with dot grids as well. So let's get into it. So for January, we have goals and step-by-step. This is the meat and potatoes of this section because everything else revolves around it. Even though there's space for 7, do not feel compelled to have 7 goals. You do not have to have 7 goals in 1 month. But if you have personal goals for yourself, maybe business goals, goals for your family, that's like 2 goals each that can equally be 7 or 6, anything like that. So it's ways to get 7 goals, but don't pressure yourself into having 7 goals. From there, to help you break down these goals, you'll break them down into steps. So instead of looking at this one goal and saying, wow, that's just so much to have to accomplish, you'll be able to look at goal 1 and write down the steps that it would take to accomplish that goal. And the cool thing about it is that you can see all of the things that you've done up until that point. And might I add that just because there are enough steps for 7 steps does not mean that to accomplish that goal will take all 7 steps. Some may only take 3, some may take 5 or 6. Do as you please. This is your space. I made sure I made it as plain as possible to give you space for creativity. Speaking of which, highlighters. These highlighters will be available on my website. So if you have already ordered your planner and you want some really cool black yet multicolored highlights to add to your planner, then you can do that as well. I'm just going to put these to the side. We'll talk about them some more later. So write down your goals, write down the steps that it takes to reach them. Just to give you an example, I'll show you my personal planner and what I've done to it. So for January, I have a lot of stuff in mind. I kept this page blank for you guys so that you can do the exact same thing that I've done. In most planners, I feel like they don't have enough scrap paper. You just get that 1 or 2 page in the back where you can write notes. No, in my planner, you have this page for notes. You have this page for notes. This will be your worksheet that we'll get into, but outside of each worksheet has dot grids on the side for notes. And then in the back, you get more notes section of each section. More notes. So notes and notes galore. We're going to have a lot of things to write about. So as you can see, it says create a prototype for my invention. I'm also a seamstress, so I've been working on a couple of things. And the step-by-step for that was clean up my art room, sit down and draw, start sewing, test out design, sew again, test out design, write out invention details. So far, I'm at this step. But as you can see, I've already accomplished so much, but imagine if you didn't have the steps and you were just looking at these goals. That would be a lot. I wouldn't even know where I was at in the create the prototype for my invention. It just seems so unattainable at times. But when you have the steps, you can write it out. Let's look at goal number 2. Get enrolled for spring semester for a career change. That's what this page is about, and we'll talk about that soon. The steps for that was decide on classes, decide if I will change majors, leave work early, go to campus or online. So I guess I cheated myself out of those steps, but yay, still got done. Talk to an advisor, enroll, and done. Boom. Step 2 or goal 2 is done. So let's just highlight that because it is complete. And cross it out. My next goal is start organizing coach class process. The thing is that these two are closely connected. So it's either going to be a career change or continuing in this direction. Both of these two things are expensive. So I had to choose my time and money wisely. Even though this is still a goal, that is my current goal and it takes precedence over this third goal. So it's still in action, but making that initial payment has been put on pause. But if I was to, let's say, get into June and I'm still thinking about this goal that I had back in January, I can see where I left off at and go straight back to that. That's the convenience of having these steps written out this way. Personal study, research the Bible, create a DBA for the Paper Life Coach, sell 40 books, the Paper Life Coach planners, take control of all household bills. I have so many steps, and as you can see, this one only had 3, and these are all left out. This section over here was important for me because it helped me to decide which one of these 2 goals was more important at the time. So what I worked on was understanding what my personal superpowers are. Understanding my core values, what do I enjoy doing, what do I do well, what are the jobs that are in demand, and then some of the skills that I would need to know in order to accomplish that job. And then some online courses that would help me to learn more about that career and that path without taking the traditional direction of college, which I am still doing. As you can see, it's done. I'm enrolled. In fact, today was my first day, so I'll let you guys know how that's going. I have 3 classes, full-time job, running 2 separate businesses. I have a daughter. I'm married. Like, life is real. But with this book, it helps you to accomplish those goals, be aware of your strengths and weaknesses, and then give yourself accolades. Like, just celebrate those milestones, because that's what all of these steps are. Milestones of things that you've accomplished. So yes, accomplishing the entire step is the main goal, but still celebrate yourself in between all of these things, right? So let's turn the page. One thing that I'd like to add is, you saw what I did with this marker. And when I was filling this in, like, I kept going over this space repeatedly, and look, doesn't bleed through. So the highlighters are awesome. As you can see, it's not coming through or bleeding through the other side of the pages, not only because of the high quality of the highlighters, but also the high quality of the paper. And if you've seen any of my previous videos on social media, on Facebook or on Instagram, you've seen that I've done some pen tests, and the pages are durable with those as well. And so go to the website if you're interested in more details and grab you some highlighters to fill in your planner. So Brainstorm, websites, blogs, books. I came up with the idea of this page because I had a regular like journal, but I used it to separate each page with like a post-it. And when I would look back at my life over the course of the year, separated by, of course, the tabs, I would see all of these websites, all of these books, all of these people I needed to reach out to. And it was just scattered all in between all of these random thoughts. So I figured if I had a specific page where you could write that information down, it would be helpful. On this page, Brainstorm, Stalk and Talk, podcasts that I need to listen to, websites that I need to go on to, people that I need to reach out to, books that I need to read. All of that is here. These things are going to help me to accomplish the goals that have been written out on this page. So use it wisely. A lot of people like to follow people on social media, but if any of you guys have experienced this before, you go into your phone, you type in the person's name, and then you start following them, and then boom, they get lost in your search. You don't even remember what their name was to even search for them. You just know that you follow them now. So you just kind of hope that they cross your timeline and that you could see them again. But if you write them down in your Brainstorm and Stalk and Talk page, then you know exactly who they are, the month that you met them, probably even the circumstances. Like, oh, I ran into that person when I was at Starbucks, or I was at a random IKEA checkout line and I ran into them. Like, this will spark your memory, opposed to just throwing them in the bag of Instagram searches. So take advantage of this page. It is very beneficial. This page is fun. I started filling this one out for this month, but my circumstances have changed a little bit. I was trying to figure out how I could organize school and other things, but before it looks like this, it looks like this, just to give you a blank page. Very blank. Now, as you can see on mine, it has 9 a.m. to 12, 12 to 3, 3 to 6, 6 to 9. You do not have to do that. Here's another example down here. You can put 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You literally can make this however you want. Or it could be for morning, afternoon, evening, night, which could be whatever time you want it to be. Make this work for you. Another example is, and I did this back in, I believe, September. This is another way that I designed it. I've been promoting this one on my Instagram page so you could see it more. Just the different things that I was able to do. I had Mom Mondays. I had time for my husband. I had time for me. Just all types of things. And as you can see, there are no times at the top. Just the random work schedule. And then nothing with specific times after that. Just a group of things or group of options that I have for that time frame. So feel free to fill out this book however you want. And as you can see, it's a clear difference. Like, you do not have to be as super artsy as this is. For some, this may actually be overwhelming. So don't try to imitate this page. If you're not into this type of stuff, don't force it. It can be just as simple as work, stretching, eating, school. Like, those are my class schedules and things like that. So do what works for you, long story short. So let's go to the calendar. This is where you can actually put things in. So the set in stone page, to explain this, is where things go that are set in stone, which means I know that I have to be at work from 9 to 3, and of course a little bit of time into here, but it's stated, it's obvious, you know what I'm saying? But on this page is when random things are being popped into your schedule. I had a friend of mine who had a baby shower. I had a game night. My focus group, there was a bridal shower. You can pin and drop these things into here. If you look a little closer, you can see where it has percentages. The reason why I put those in there is because a lot of times we can have a terrible week, or you can have a terrible day. Sometimes if you have too many terrible days, you think that you had a terrible week. These dots or these percentage bubbles allow you to gauge your productivity, whether it's your happiness levels, your mental health levels, or literally your productivity business-wise. So it allows you to just give yourself a more honest opinion of your productivity for the week. That way you can use the percentages, but only if you want to. It's not necessary, to give your work week a grade based on your expectations for yourself. So if I had a bad Monday and Tuesday, but Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday were awesome, I could probably give myself an 80%. And if I have enough 80%, let's say that was an 80%, that was an 80%, that was an 80%. But this week right here was terrible and I gave myself a 20%. It just puts things in perspective. Because for anyone else, if you had enough great days, but that one bad week, you'll be like, oh, I had the worst month of it's just been the worst month so far. No, actually, it was just a bad week and a great month overall. Like, if you want to be technical, that's what those numbers are for. Like, you literally can say the average of 80, 80, 80, 20, and probably closed out with maybe a 60 because you're still dragging from that previous week. Average that out, is still a better grade than you making the whole month sound like it was terrible. This page is going to help you to also decatastrophize. If you've already seen the previous video, you know what decatastrophizing is. If you don't, go back to that video, look at it, and then come back. I'm going to pause, give you a chance to go around and check that out. Okay, welcome back. So let us go on to the next page. So each month, well, most of the months, will give you a worksheet. This page is called the High Priority Weekly Deadline. This is your functioning to-do list. As you can see, it has boxes, boxes, and more boxes. There are no hours here. You get to create the hours that you want. One thing that I do want you guys to pay attention to is the weeks are a little bit different, and I did this intentionally. So if you look at the calendar, It is a traditional calendar as far as the US is concerned. But if you flip over to the high priority weekly deadline, and I'll look at a blank one so you guys can see it. You'll notice that the work week starts on Monday and it ends on Sunday. I did this intentionally because a lot of times when we're working from Monday to Sunday, which leaves us Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the weekend. And that's that. So Sunday through Saturday for the calendar, and then Monday through Sunday for the work week. The purpose of this section, and I don't want you to feel, once again, overwhelmed. This is just to be as specific as you need to be. Is to help you to accomplish those goals. And these are the goals that we put up in here. So like, let's say for goal 1, it was to clean up my art room. And I'm looking at this today and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to clean up my art room tomorrow. We will go on to the high priority weekly deadline. And we would look for today's date, which is the fresh one. So today is the 21st. And if I say, hey, tomorrow I want to clean my art room, I would write down clean art room. If I had a specific deadline that I wanted to clean it by, I would put that deadline up there. So like, let's say 6 p.m. Small little number letter combination goes up there. And when tomorrow comes and I've successfully cleaned up my room, I will put a nice little check there. So let's try that out just to show you. Ugh. So for Wednesday, so today's Tuesday. For Wednesday, I'm going to put clean art room. And I want to clean it by 6 p.m. When tomorrow comes and I've successfully cleaned up my art room, I will put a nice check there. But let's say tomorrow came and I didn't clean up my art room. Instead of putting a check there, I could put an X there. What I like to do from there is use a different color. This lets me know that when Thursday comes, whatever's in this bright color, and you can change the colors as you please. It lets me know that whatever this bright color is, most times I use red, but I'm going to use pink, that this is what needs to get done first before I get into all those other things. So I will put clean art room. I don't know. You don't have to put a time if you don't want to. So I won't put a time. But if I was to fill this up with other things, feed dog, wash clothes, maybe not wash clothes. Let's wash dishes. We'll save clothes for the weekend. Pick up pizza for dinner, etc., etc., etc. Now I know that in addition to doing these things, that thing in red was something, or pink, was something that should have been done the day before and it didn't. So it allows me to make this a very top priority. Trust me, you could do the same even if that thing was down here in pink or red. So that's what this section does. It just allows you to hold yourself accountable. Now, Thursday comes. Did I clean my art room? Yay, I did. Did I feed the dog? Yes, I did. Did I pick up pizza for dinner? Yes, I did. Did I wash dishes? No, I didn't. You see how I used a time over here and I didn't use a time over here? You don't have to. This is your planner. Do what you want with it. And that's why these boxes are blank. If you wanted to put the initial of the person who you want to delegate this to, who's supposed to feed the dog? Let's just use my daughter, Sydney. Who was supposed to pick up dinner? Husband. Did she feed the dog? Yes. Did he pick up pizza for dinner? Yes. Did I wash the dishes? No. Which means tomorrow I could put it for the next day. E Young. Wash dishes. You can do whatever you want, people, but this is what I've been using. This is how I created the planner and the thought process that I had. Let's look at some of the things that I was able to accomplish this month so far. I had hair clients, fun time with friends, mailing off some packages, responding to the focus group. That was a lot of work to do. I finally got everything that I needed together for that, but it was still so much work. Upload videos showing how to use my planner, get money for ink for rent, all that type of adult stuff. Get money from ink for car insurance, which goes back to my goal number 7 as far as being in charge of the family's finances. I used time here, as you can see, and I checked off when I was able to get those things done, and if I didn't do it, it got X'd off. And it allows you to see how your time is being spent and or wasted, so you can make better use of your time. As you can see, I didn't write anything for these 3 days. Doesn't mean that I didn't do anything those 3 days. No. Please do not feel like you have to fill out this planner every single day. That would be stressful for some of you. This is not a prison. This is a safe space. But only if you create it to feel that way. So, super productive, probably super productive here too. Just didn't feel like writing. Don't stress yourself. Flip over to the next page. Wow, lots of things to do, right? I've done so many different methods of using these columns to show you that you can do the same. Guess what? I was busy. If I don't write down what I want to do by the weekend, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be crazy busy. And that's just what it is. As you can see, I didn't put any times here, just big old X's, and that's it. Boom, gets pushed over. Here's my little dot grid section over here where I can put extra information. Make sure you use that. As you can see also, it says, is it time to leave? These little worksheets also carry forth from the self-assessment section. So in each one of these sections, for January, it asks the question, is it time to leave? You have your worksheet that you fill out. For February, it's the same thing. It says, reminder for anxious, depressed creatives. This one isn't necessarily a worksheet for you to fill out, but it gives you some things to think about and also space to write down some thoughts following that. Let's go into March and see what March has. Overcoming entrepreneurial envy. And worksheets for you to work on. So in this section, you look at it, here's more dot grid sections. And as you can see, they're nice little dots in that neo mint green color. So for the month of March, we had the weekdays start on Sunday, which meant it gave us all of this extra space. So I left this space for a dot grid, this space for a worksheet. You'll find some that do not have worksheets in them. Let's see if we can find one that does not have a worksheet. That one has a worksheet for April. Here we go, May. May does not have a worksheet. So, May have the opportunity to have a worksheet because of the space available. So this just gives you extra space to write all of the things that you want to write down. Just going back to January, you will notice that behind each and every section is a end of the month assessment. Here you can see I did another pen test. There's no bleed. It was a red pen. It's just awesome. Like, the pages are very adorable. But back to the end of the month assessment. So it says, what goals are you proud of accomplishing this month? You may find that you were not able to accomplish all of the goals that you set out, but you were able to accomplish a few. So of those, which are you the most proud of accomplishing? Also, which goals for this month are going to take a little bit longer to reach and why? But you're still being accountable, and then you're putting it into motion as to what you're going to do the next time. It says, what strategies and new habits were helpful this month that you would like to take into the next month? So whatever you did, whatever formula you created to help you accomplish those goals here, what can you take into the next month so that you can accomplish those as well? What habits do you need to let go of in order to progress next month? Maybe you didn't accomplish some of those goals because you had some really bad habits that you maybe have pulled in from last year and you didn't really realize how bad it was until you saw it on paper? What do you need to let go of in order to accomplish goals the next month? That's something to think about. Here's an interesting section. It says, if you want to work on any of these 7 things, create a goal for it next month and get started. The 7 things that it's talking about are these right here. It talks about business life, family life, personal life, spirituality, financial habits, exercise, health. So even though there isn't some big space about how much water you drank, how much did you exercise, blah, 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 you can create that space here if you choose to. So maybe you gave your business life a 2, you gave your family life a 10, personal life a 8, spirituality was a 3, financial habits were maybe a strong 3 or 4, exercise was down to a 1, and your health is probably a 7. You can choose which one of these things, or a couple if you choose, to work on for the next month. And you can use this space here and the space on the back to help to accomplish that. And then it says your overall opinion of the month. This is where you can just decompress. It doesn't give you a lot of space, and I did that intentionally so that you don't go off in a tangent of just writing a bunch of negative things or romanticizing something in this section either. It's just the facts, the actual factuals, people. And use that to inspire you going forward to try to avoid having a month like this or repeat a month like this, whichever one you decide. But that is this section in a nutshell. A few things that you could check out that may be of interest to you is the Check Your Vitals page, which is in between June and July. This page is dedicated to literally checking your vitals. The same way you would check your vitals at the hospital. They want to make sure that this is okay, that's okay, are those numbers still okay? Whatever goals that you had, whatever things you wanted to become, and then you said you wanted to do at the beginning of the year, this page and the page on the back of it will help you to make sure that you're still calibrated correctly and going in that direction. Or you may decide that you no longer want those goals or those things. 6 months of trying it out, you realize it's just not for you. Now you can use the last remaining couple of months of the year to accomplish that next big thing. As I mentioned, most of the months have their own sections. This one for August is grounded and centered. November has a section for you if you're interested in starting your own business. And it has 7 think questions, things to think about before you decide to become an entrepreneur. You need to do your research. Are you even cut out for this? How to develop a business plan, how to decide the structure of your company, things like that. So there's a lot of information in this section. Lots of organizing, lots of planning, but it's very cut dry, simple, and to the point. Do not get overwhelmed by this, everyone. So the 3, 6, 9, 12 page, this is cool because it allows you to project your goals into the future. So if you say that you want to finish paying off your house or finish paying off your car by December, you can put that here, finish paying off car by December. The thing is that sometimes this page can collect dust because it's in between the self-assessment section and technically the organizing and planning. So just remind yourself at the beginning of each month to just check to see what your projections are, because if your goal is to pay off your car by December, that means that you need to be making certain choices within the beginning of the year to make sure that you're still in alignment with accomplishing that goal. So just keep that in mind. Do not feel compelled to have your planner look like mine. It can look as filled up and detailed as this. It can look as blank and bare as this. And on some months, it can look just like this. Do not feel discouraged. You can pick up anywhere. Planners are not to keep you in a prison of structure and busyness and productivity. If you're one of those people that don't typically use a planner and you got this one today, use it in January. If you don't even pick it up until spring, pick it back up in spring. Flip to spring. Follow whatever worksheet the worksheet tells you to do for that month. So we're in March, overcoming entrepreneurial envy. If you're not an entrepreneur, I'm still sure you've had an envious moment. Follow the directions in this worksheet. If you don't pick up your planner until April, fine. Go over to April. Do the worksheet for April. Boom. What makes you happy? If you find that you haven't picked up your planner from January all the way down to August, one thing that I would encourage you to do if you're not going to do anything else, go back and fill out your worksheets for each month. You're going to learn a whole lot about yourself. And you may find that you enjoy at least doing those worksheets without the obligation of being productive in between. Or you may find yourself inspired after filling out the worksheets to do the things to accomplish your goals, okay? Have fun, have peace, have mental health, have a great year. Thank you for your support. Thank you for purchasing the book. Talk to you soon.